Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Monday Shots. I'm your host Khyati and today we have a very special episode lined up for you. So today we have a distinguished panel from the Chartering Department of Bainbridge Navigation. So joining us are Mr. Saransh, the Assistant General Manager, Mr. Ankit Gulati, the Senior Manager, and Mr. Shray, the Assistant Manager. Three of them oversee the Southeast Asia desk, and I'm sure they're going to bring some great insights for all of us today. Welcome to Monday Shots, all three of you.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to have you all on this show today.
Same here.
I hope you guys are equally excited like I am.
Of course we
Is
are.
it? Okay, so to kick things off, let's start with the basics of dry bulk market. Saransh, I would like to start with you first. To understand the basics first, when we talk about the dry bulk market, I would like to understand from you that how it has evolved over the period of time. And are there any major factors that have resulted in the changes that have occurred in the dry bulk segment? What are your views on that?
Firstly, Khyati, thank you for giving this platform. I will try my level best to justify it by answering as precisely as I can. When we talk about dry bulk market, as you are aware, that 80% of the global trade, it happens through sea. So Khyati, as you already know, international shipping plays a vital role in global market. And history has shown shipping to be a cyclical and a volatile market. When we talk about its evolution, it has evolved over a period of time as it is strongly correlated and interdependent with other industries in other regions of the world. So continuous analysis of shipping market gives you a brief overview and a real-time picture of the economic activity going on worldwide. So when we talk about the initial days when shipping evolved, it was very difficult for the traders to understand the market worldwide. For example, if someone who is trading in Southeast Asia will not be able to know what is the market in Atlantic, there was a discrepancy and there was no transparency of prices and trades going on. For example, if we are selling any resource, any commodity within Southeast Asia, we don't know what is the requirement at Atlantic. To remove these discrepancies, different shipping members of the community, they joined together and formed Baltic Exchange. Baltic Exchange is London-based exchange which gives a real-time overview of the market worldwide and it helps the trader to settle their derivative and physical contracts. Baltic Exchange produces 6 indices: Baltic Capesize Index, Baltic Supramax Index, Baltic Panamax Index, Baltic Handysize Index and Baltic Dry Index, which is the average of all 4. If we talk about the factors affecting dry bulk sector, there are plenty of factors which I have noticed over a period of time. Majorly are economic condition of the country, like growth and recession, which plays a vital role when we talk about the demand and supply of the resources. Technological advancement like automation, improving the turnaround at ports, global disruptions like natural factors, labor strike, what is happening in Bangladesh at the moment, due to which Bangladesh has lost about $1.2 billion due to the dispute between the students and the government because of the ongoing policies on quota. Regulatory changes such as changes in policies, government policies and rules and regulations at port and many other factors.
Well, thank you, Saransh. Those were really great insights, trust me. So, as you guys look after the Southeast Asia region, my next question is to you, Ankit. I would like to know, how does the Southeast Asia region contributes to the overall world trade? Can you please share your insights on the same?
Sure. Thank you so much, Hati, for the platform. Okay. So when we talk about Southeast Asia, there are a lot of countries involved. Mainly countries which we talk about is the Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Brunei, Cambodia, Philippines, right? And these countries have formed the association called ASEAN, which is an association of Southeast Asian nations. Like in the year 2022, the inter-region trade was about 1/3 of that of the trade which US did with the globe, right? And even the Southeast Asia in a whole did about 27% of this trade versus the global trade. The major reason among these Southeast Asian nations which have grown are because of the countries like Indonesia, countries like Singapore, countries like Thailand, countries like Vietnam. These are the major contributors in the Southeast Asia region. Even if what Saransh discussed about the Baltic Index exchange, we see for the Southeast Asia region particularly, there are three trade routes which for a segment of a Supramax size vessel, the trade route of S2, which is for the within the Pacific region, the trade route S8, which is for the Indonesia to India, then they have the trade route S10, which is for the Indonesia to moving to China. So these three major trade routes in the dry bulk segment, we see they are contributing about 45% of the ton mile demand among the whole region of the Supramax size. And as we mentioned about the countries like Indonesia, the country like Indonesia in the year 2023, it grew at a GDP rate of 5%. And the country Vietnam, it grew at a rate of 5.8%. And they're expected to continue further in 2025 by similar rate as per the IMF rating. And the country Singapore, it grew at a rate of 2.1%, and the Thailand, it grew at a rate of 2.9%. Now the major reasons among these countries was that the Indonesia being one of the largest exporters of the coal, of the bauxite, of the oil, and the government is supporting a lot in this part, in the export. The policies are supporting by the governments of the Indonesia, which is the major reason they are able to contribute more. Then the second largest among this Southeast Asia is the Thailand, which is able to contribute, reason being because of the export of rice and the natural rubber. And they are the one which are the major contributor. Along with that, there are a lot of international brands of cars and appliances. They are having their manufacturing hub in Thailand. So they are also the contributing factors in the Thailand economy and the Southeast Asia overall. In year 2023, we had the figures which shows that the overall global growth, GDP growth was about 3.6%, whereas Southeast Asia grew by 4.6%.
Oh.
So these nations grew by more than what the global did.
Global GDP.
Right. But the factors which made this happen, the companies like Samsung, companies like Apple, companies like Sony, company like Adidas, they are big companies. They plan to have a strategy called China Plus One, so that they can have at least one presence in other Southeast Asia regions like Vietnam, India, and Thailand, other than the China, so that they should not be dependent on China. So this was a major reason they are able to have a contribution. Then the other reason was the growing urbanization in the Southeast Asia countries, in Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and the inflation is coming down over there. Plus, the interest rates are coming down, so that people are able to trade more commodities. So these are all factors which helped in Southeast Asia region to grow, to have a trade with many nations, apart from regions, with the regions of the West, with the Europe and the US as well.
Well, thank you, Ankit, for making us understand the major economies and major countries contributing to the world trade. Those were really great insights. So my next question goes to Shray. Shray, I would like to understand from you, what are the major commodities that are being traded in Southeast Asia region, and also how does their pricing affect the overall trade? Please share your...
Thanks, Khyati, for calling us here. It's a pleasure to be here and to be frankly speaking, after seeing this podcast and reels in Instagrams and YouTube, I've always wondered how it feels like to be here, and it's great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thanks. Coming back to your question, I'll start with saying that the cargoes that are being traded in Southeast Asia are coal that are from Indonesia and Australia. Iron ore mainly traded from Indonesia, Australia, and then it's come bauxite, nickel ore, cement, clinker, palm kernel seeds. So these are the major cargoes that are being traded in the Southeast Asia region itself. Coming back to second part of your question, that is the pricing of these commodities. the pricing of these commodities have a great impact when it comes to the trade itself, because everybody in the market is there to earn money, okay, at the end of the day. So this pricing play a vital role when it comes to the trade fluctuations and trade volumes, that are how the demand and how the supply is working. For instance, a shipper in Indonesia will always be encouraged to trade more or supply more when the prices are high. Similarly, a trader or a receiver in India will always be very happy to buy same product when the prices are low. So the prices of these commodities will play a huge impact when it comes to the trade volumes and how the demand and supply works in the region itself. So similarly in the Southeast Asia region also, the prices play a vital role. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Shray, for your insights. Okay, Saransh, so coming back to you, what do you think? How will other economies will survive, or should I say, position themselves in this cutthroat competition? What are your thoughts on this, the cutthroat competition scenario?
Khyati, I think any economy in the world is not self-sufficient or self-reliant. It is always dependent upon other economies to get their resources. For example, China would be the largest exporter of steel products, but for that they need the raw material from other countries. Similarly, India would be the largest exporter of petroleum products, but India is dependent upon other countries for crude oil. So I think in order to position themselves being developed or underdeveloped, every country has to reduce the uncertainties and risk so that they are able to welcome more and more of trade. So when we were talking about the uncertainties, as we have discussed previously, the uncertainties can be economic factor.
If you know the recent case of Sri Lanka, where entire economy collapsed due to persistent fiscal deficit.
As the recent case going on with Bangladesh, like there is a dispute between the students and the government due to the present policies on quota, due to which Bangladesh has lost about 1.2 billions of foreign exchange. When we talk about this Indonesian coal ban, which we have seen last year, due to which all the tonnages, they were standing idle at the port and waiting for the coal. So these uncertainties are never being thought by a trader when he is fixing any cargo or doing any sort of trade. So Khyati, I think any government should form such policies which are able to reduce these uncertainties and are able to welcome trade. This will, I think, not only influx capital but trade as well.
Thank you, Saransh, for sharing this piece of knowledge. That was really very intriguing. Thank you. Okay, so going forward, Shray, I would like to come back to you. Talking about the current market scenario or the global events, specifically talking about the geopolitical tensions, what impact do they have on the region you're dealing in, Southeast Asia region? Please share your...
Like all the trades and everything is impacted by geopolitical tension. If there is a geopolitical tension in the area, it will in the area or all around the world, if there is a geopolitical tension, that will impact the trade itself. Okay, so similarly goes to the trade in the Southeast Asia regions when it comes to geopolitical tensions that are happening in around the world. Okay, so things like sanctions, restrictions, and different types of challenges that conflicts brings in. So it will change in the demand and the demand of the certain commodities. Okay, so for instance, it's always not so healthy for a trade when it comes to restrictions and conflicts. Okay, it reduces the demand of the commodities. Okay, it increases the cost and time of the trade by rerouting itself. Okay, and fluctuations in the market itself will in fact the freight rates. What happens when there is conflicts and sanctions in certain area and certain regions? It's that it increases the price cost and of the trade itself. Okay, it's not a very healthy situation for any economy or any world or any region to have a conflict and restrictions itself. Okay, so similarly in the dry bulk sector in Southeast Asia itself, when there is conflict, it will increase the turnaround time. It will increase the costing. It will increase the areas of the trade itself, which will eventually cost to the trade itself. So, for example, if we come to Southeast Asia region, the recent conflict in the South China Sea and US-China trade war, it has impacted the trade between the countries in the Southeast Asia itself. For instance, if there is sanctions and restrictions, it affects the trade of the coal, iron ore that is being supplied from China, India, China, Indonesia, Australia itself, the regions itself. So overall, if we talk about the sanctions, the conflicts, this always brings up the increases the cost of the trade itself. But however, if we talk about conflicts, it also brings the new opportunities for new players, for countries to look to diversify their area. For instance, if currently India is buying coal from Indonesia, if there is a conflict, for instance, if we talk about if there are conflicts between these countries, India will look for different opportunities from different countries, or it will work on its own coal. So that affects the market itself. So it also brings up the new opportunities for the countries to diversify the market itself.
Great insights, Shray. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Coming back to you, Ankit, if you see nowadays, we are talking very much high on technological advancements, and to be specific, artificial intelligence. So I would like to know from you or your viewpoint, like with respect to maritime industry, are there any technological advancements in the maritime industry that we can look up to?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Khyati. Yes, there are a lot of technical advancement in the maritime industry. First of all, I'll specific on the AI technology. Mm-hmm. I'll just give you a brief of AI, what AI is basically. See, AI is what we talk about nowadays is just a simulation or a representation of the human intelligence, right, which is processed by the computer. Now, the computer which is processing the human intelligence, like the learning, what human does, the reasoning, what human does, and the self-correction, what human does. So the idea, the goal of AI is to have like a decision making. That's the main goal of the AI. You have a decision making thing, but human being we expect has to do, right? Now when you talk about AI into the maritime industry, they look after the various applications like a fleet management. It is one of the major area where you can have an advantage. In the fleet management we talk about, it basically more thing is from the route optimization, that we should have a shortest route for navigation, which can have in turn save the fuel, and saving a fuel will save a cost. The process which is done by the AI is basically it takes the data from the ship, it takes the data from a global maritime traffic, it takes the data from the weather reports, it reads the sea conditions, right, and it turns these raw material into information with the real-time process and with the historic data which has already been fed into the system. And with this collaboration, they come to a decision. What is the main purpose? Is just to have a decision. So we have a decision over there that this should be a navigation route, a shortest route which the ship can sail, which can save your fuel, which can save your cost, and in turn save your less carbon emissions. And second thing is the preventive maintenance. So we have a lot of equipments on board. We have a lot of equipments at the port side, so that we can identify or mitigate that if there is something downtime coming to these equipments, which will in turn save your cost and time. And you see, the preventive maintenance is like you're keeping a personal mechanic on board who is continuously monitoring and observing things and making an alarm so that this can happen, so that in order not to have a downtime. And because you see, from ship owner's point of view, they charter their vessel to an operator, and if their vessel is downtime, if vessel is not operating, equipment is down, then they're going to be off hire. It's a loss of hire to them. And second, if you see, is the supply chain as a whole. The supply chain is basically, it starts from the manufacturing part to a logistics, and then to a inventory part, which goes to the receiver. So these are the various areas and applications which we see the AI is contributing and can contribute further with the advancement of the technology into the maritime industry. So this was basically the applications of the AI into the maritime industry. Now, apart from the AI technology, there are a lot of other technical advancement we're observing in the maritime industry. We can name it like the robotic technology. The robotic technology is basically useful in the terminals and the ports, where nowadays we see a big gantry cranes which are being manually and hydraulically operated. Instead of that, you can have a robotic technology. They will be operating the cargo loading and discharging, which will in turn helpful in the faster movement. The turnaround will be faster and the lesser chances of the human error, because human is not involved in that. Then second technology is the Internet of the Things, and third one is the autonomous ships, which is again it's a future. The autonomous ship is going to be a future where there will be no human involved, and the ships will be navigating themselves on their own. There will be docking and the berths and the anchorages on their own, which will be helpful to avoid the collisions between the various ships, which will be helpful in the faster and the safer navigations. So this is, and even the IMO, which is the International Maritime Organization, has even recognized the working group, which has been as a classified group working on the autonomous ships. And the third one and the fourth one we talk about advanced technology is the greener shipping. In the greener shipping, we talk about the fuel, the alternative fuel apart from the crude oil which we are using in the ships to run. Fuel like biofuel, the LNG, the solar panel equipped ships. Even there is a commercial ships as well, which is at the moment docked, but it was operational previously. It was Ogria Leader. She was running partially by a solar equipped panel. Then the ships which will be running by the wind turbine installed mounted on the deck. So these are all the alternative fuels and the ways in the greener shipping, which is upcoming, and the better technologies in the maritime industry point of view.
Great, Ankit. Those were really very detailed insights that you have shared here, and thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Welcome.
So had it not been a time constraint, we would have discussed more, but we have already reached the end of our discussion today. A very, very warm thank you to all three of you for being a part of Monday Shots.
Thank you, Khyati, for
giving us this opportunity to have you with us today. Well, in today's episode, we have discussed the intricacies of dry bulk market, particularly focusing on Southeast Asia region. We discussed the evolution of the dry bulk market. We discussed how Southeast Asia region contributes to the overall world trade, then the various impacts and implications of geopolitical tensions, the challenges, impact of AI, and much more. I believe we have covered a lot of ground today, and I'm sure our listeners must have gained a lot from today's episode. Once again, a heartfelt thanks to all three of you. It was a pleasure to have you on Monday Shots.
Thank you for
Thank you,
Khyati.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, do not forget to like and leave a review for us. Until next time, I'm Khyati, your host, and this has been Monday Shots. Have a great week ahead. See you next time.